Hey there! Today I have something fun to show you. I just got back from VCF East, and while in the consignment area, I found something fun for not too much money, so I decided to buy it and pick it up. I have no idea about it, so we're going to learn about it together.
Jen/Eric Computers. Jen/Eric Computers. Looking at computer stuff. Hey everyone, it's Jen/Eric.
This guy here, which barely fits on my desk, is the AT&T 3B2 310. From what I can tell, this thing is a Unix workstation from around 1984. So I think in other videos I featured my AT&T Unix PC. If not in other videos, at least it's on my website. That AT&T Unix PC uses a 68010 processor, and it's sometimes referred to as the AT&T 3B1, but actually has nothing to do with this thing, which is the 3B2 310, which is powered by something called the Belmac 32 processor. Like I said, I picked this up at the consignment at VCF East this weekend, and I don't know much about it, how to use it, so we're going to open it up, look around inside, see if it's safe to turn it on, and then just see if we can do anything with it. So around the back of this thing, we have this little cutout here, which I'm not entirely sure what it's for. We got some ports here that I, again, don't really know what they're for. But one there says console, so I'm hoping that I can use like a Cisco console cable or something to just connect that to a terminal to communicate with this, because otherwise I don't really know how I'm supposed to communicate with this. Around the side here we've got a power supply. On the top I noticed there's this sticker here, which you can see here, well, upside down, but it says good working Unix 3.2, 80 meg hard drive, 4 megs RAM. That's dated July 1st, 2012. But before that, April 2012, it said power supply smoke to capacitor. So that's why we're going to open this up first before we turn it on. If we have to recap it, we will. I'd rather, not blow this thing up. On one side, there's this door here. This door which leads to a bunch of ports. Some that look familiar to me, some that don't. Like, I don't know if these are parallel ports or SCSI ports or what. Some of these ports here are weird. I don't know if these are for like a keyboard or for a more consoles or more serial stuff. Though now I gotta take this side panel off. I think I figured out what this little cutout on the side is for. I guess you run your wires through here, put this door on, and then all the wires to stick out the back here. So I guess that makes sense. Oh, so on this plate I took off, it does have a little diagram of what the ports are. It says slot 3, 4, and then slot 1 says expansion ports, and slot 2 says cartridge tape controller. So I guess that's a hint as to what all these do. And the fact that these say slots, looks like maybe those can come out and be replaced with other things. I see a little bracket here in the middle. It looks like it could be unscrewed, so maybe these are cards that can be taken out. You already saw the front with its floppy drive, and then on the other side we just got a switch which says on and standby, and it doesn't stay in position when you click it. You just click it one side and it flips back to the center. It's kind of satisfying, but interesting that it doesn't have an off. It's just on and standby. I guess standby is off, or maybe like a low power mode, so maybe this is more of like a server and it just stays on all the time. So now that we're in here, I guess we can take a look around. I see two big boards here that look like RAM, but they're just like massive RAM boards. I'll get a better shot of them later. This is the expansion cards, I guess, so the motherboard must be under this thing. Let's see if I can figure out how to take all this stuff out. I'm gonna see if I can get these cards out, and to do so, I'm gonna see if I can unscrew this bracket. And I see some screws kind of, well, there's one here. So hopefully if I take this out, maybe this screw, these cards will slide out, and then I can see the motherboard underneath it. That's what I hope anyway. Bracket came off. So I noticed that there's these little slidey bits I don't know if it's supposed to go over the card or just fill in space. 'Cause like this one doesn't slide, but this other one here is slid over the card. So that's interesting. Not really sure what the point of that is. But this card might come out, this top one. Yeah. Not entirely sure what this card is, but it's got lots of chips on it. If I figure out what it does, once I figure out what the rest of this does, then I will let you know, but I don't really know what this does at the moment. This card as well. I'm going to assume that these two are the same as that other one. Yeah, these three seem to be the same card, and that fourth one being different. Though one of these is a little different. Any firmware is copyright 1984 AT&T. The other cards don't have it, only this one does. Now with all those cards out, we can get a look at the motherboard. Here's our motherboard down here with a back plane that, or I guess an expansion board that all of those cards were attached to. Down here we have what I assume is the RAM. I don't know how you can see, but they are pretty long cards. Those are our two RAM sticks. I don't know if this board has any onboard RAM. But I know which one of those chips is the CPU. Though, it could be those three. I did say the CPU was a WE3200. So, all those three chips say that on it. Or they say WE32100. So, those three CPUs, or is only one of them the CPU and the other one is something else? I'm not sure. Obviously those are some type of EEPROMs. I assume that has the BIOS or whatever this system would call that. So there's a big piece of metal here holding down the RAM with a single screw on it. So hopefully if I unscrew that, I can just pull these RAM sticks out. We can look at them. I can only assume this is proprietary and there's probably no way to find more of these. Pulled out some screws, two here, one hidden under this bundle of wires here, and I got this cage out where the expansion cards were with the little riser card here still screwed to this. So here, this ribbon cable goes to this little board here, and on the outside this thing was one of the console ports. So I'm assuming again that this is serial. This cable here goes to this interesting connector on the outside, and that seems to go to the hard drive, maybe. So I wonder if that's like an external drive connector. And here we have the power supply. I want to take it apart. I just want to see if any of the caps are exploded. That little note on the top has me a little concerned. Using my trusty $3 Walmart screwdriver, I got the screws out to the power supply, and I guess other than being a little like dirty, I don't really see anything wrong with it. So those screws in the bottom of the case were for the drives. So here's our absolutely massive hard drive. It's also quite heavy. I obviously have no idea if this works. And here is our floppy drive inside of a little metal cage. Don't know if this works either, though this floppy drive seems a bit more standard. So if this doesn't work, I do have another one. I assume also this hard drive is also standard. This is just an MFM drive. I imagine I could replace it or use an emulator. So I was considering putting the power supply back in and just powering up the motherboard just to see what happens, when I noticed all the way here under this little metal thing is a battery. This looks like a AA battery, and maybe it is, but it also says 3.9 volts, so it definitely isn't a AA battery. I also definitely don't have another one of these, and I have no idea, so I'm going to not keep this in right now, and I imagine the machine will work just fine without it. And now for the scariest part. I have the power supply plugged in, and it's only plugged into the motherboard. And by plugged in, I mean it's plugged into a surge protector, but the surge protector isn't turned on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the surge protector on, and then if everything looks good, I'm going to flip the power switch on the computer. Alright, surge protector is on, and power button. And on the front, there's a green light and a blinking orange light. I put the RAM back in, and I realized as I was doing so that this machine may be powering up, but we have no way to tell that it's doing anything. Alright, now with the floppy drive attached, I imagine maybe that would make some noise if it works. Yes, the floppy drive is making noise. Constantly. I just plugged in its power and data cables and it's just spinning constantly. I don't know why. I feel like eventually it should give up and not try to boot from that, but oh, okay, no, it gave up. Okay, this is all a good sign. I'm gonna put the hard drive in and we'll hear what kind of good or bad noises it makes. The hard drive is now reattached, so now we get to hear what good or bad noises that thing makes. Here we go. So it sounds like a hard drive spinning up. Hope you all enjoy the noises. Yeah, so I don't know whether this actually works or boots up or anything, but it powers up and it doesn't blow up, so that's progress. So I'm going to leave it here. This is part 1 of this video, and then I guess in part 2, once I learn more about this, we will try to connect this to a console or a keyboard or something and just see what we can do with it. So thank you for watching.